What is up everyone, Phil here for KO Gaming, and welcome to the Hateful Truth Rebooted, where I give you maximum truth and minimum bullshit regarding the latest video game releases. Today we'll be discussing a game that's the direct sequel to a game that I actually consider the sleeper hit of 2014, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Garden Warfare 1 was a popular game that no one saw coming. It was based on the Plants vs. Zombies mobile franchise, which we'd never seen any other game types from, and throwing that franchise into a third-person shooter-style game was kind of an iffy move. Would people buy into it and try the game? Well, the original Garden Warfare was actually sold for a highly discounted price off of the full $60 price tag that we're all used to paying for games, and EA actually delivered by giving several different free DLC packs over the course of the year of 2014 that added new modes, new gameplay, new characters, and overall added to the longevity of the game. Throw in the fact that the Plants vs. Zombies franchise is a very colorful and fun one, some really fun third-person gameplay that not only was easy to learn, but also very competitive at high levels, and Garden Warfare ended up being a hidden gem of 2014. Fast forward to 2016. Garden Warfare 2 is now being released for a full $60 price tag, and consumers are apprehensive, and with good reason. Just a few months ago, EA, the publisher of Garden Warfare 2, released Star Wars Battlefront, a game that very similarly was going to have a focus only on multiplayer and a limited amount of modes at launch, and a lot of people were skeptical, and come to find out, the game comes out and it was very disappointing and very underwhelming for a full $60 price tag. However, Garden Warfare 2 does have a single-player campaign, cooperative elements, online multiplayer, and a lot more content than the original Garden Warfare, and we're going to run through that right now to see if it's worth your full-fledged $60 purchase. Ultimately, it comes down to the characters, because no matter what game mode you're actually playing in Garden Warfare 2, you're going to be playing as one of the 7 characters available from the get-go, either on the Plants or Zombie side. Now, the original 4 classes from Garden Warfare 1 return here. For the most part, they play the same, although I did notice some interesting gameplay tweaks to some of their abilities, but in general, you can kind of play these characters the same way you did in the first game, and you're pretty effective. Now, the new characters, the 3 new classes on each side, are quite interesting because they're varied and they add a lot to the game. For example, the Super Brains is a superhero style character on the zombie side who has very strong melee up close abilities, but also has some ranged attacks as well, which makes him a very well diversified fighter and kind of makes up for the fact that a lot of people thought that the melee style for the zombies wasn't very good in the first game. Cross over to the Plant side where you've got the Rose, who has a homing shot that makes it very viable for people to win matches even if they're not the best shot. She also has these debilitating abilities that will slow down enemies or even turn them into goats temporarily, and so there you have it. There's a lot of different kind of style of gameplay in Garden Warfare 2. Now admittedly, I'll tell you, from the get-go in the first week that I played the game, I do think there's a little bit of balancing issues. Some of the characters like the Rose do seem to be quite overpowered, but I get the feeling that Popcap will be patching the game to adjust that in the near future, especially since they've already announced they're going to be releasing new expansions and DLCs for free over the course of 2016, just like they did with Garden Warfare 1. And just like in the first game, in addition to the base 7 classes, you can earn variations on these characters that change their appearance in a pretty cool way and also add variations to their combat abilities. So ultimately, when you're playing the game, you're always trying to earn credits or stars in order to unlock things. Credits are used to buy card packs, which give you a random assortment of items, including little turrets and things that you can set up during the tower defense rush modes called Garden Ops and Graveyard Ops, as well as different accessories that you can equip on your characters to make them look differently, and ultimately body parts that will form into a new character that you can then play in the game. So the more you play, the more credits you earn for each match, no matter what game type you're playing. Those credits are then in turn used to buy more packs, which unlock more characters and make you want to play even more. It's a very addictive formula that works. Now, in addition to the credits, in Garden Warfare 2, there is a new mission board by which you can select certain criteria and earn stars. These stars are in turn used to go out and open chests that are hidden throughout the open world of Garden Warfare 2 that is a brand new addition. That's right, as soon as you log into the game, you're going to go into this open world area where you can wander around Zomburbia or the Plant Town. There's a central part where both sides kind of clash regularly. There's actually large style boss characters that attack randomly in this open world, and it's really cool because not only is this just a cool place to explore and to look for maybe some optional stuff to do to earn credits by fighting, but there's also side missions hidden throughout it that can earn you some extra credits or stars as well. So right off the get-go, when you boot up the game, you get this brand new open world mode that's so different, and it's really fun and original. Now, you can invite some co-op players to join this open world with you, and you can do a few kind of optional things, but ultimately, this world is used for the single-player gameplay, which is the new campaign mode. Each side, the plants and zombies, have a series of missions which they need to perform and unlock a story that unfolds over the course of the game. You initially will be doing missions kind of for your general guy, whoever is the head of your group, and then you're going to be doing specific missions, each for the new 3 characters on your side, which is kind of cool, because in a way it's a tutorial for you to play as these characters and learn their abilities. After doing those, there's actually even more difficult stages that unlock that lead to epic boss fights, a really cool survival mode ending. I certainly don't want to spoil it for those who have not watched my playthrough and are planning to play the game themselves, but suffice it to say, each side of this campaign is around 3 to 4 hours long, so you're going to get around 8 hours of content just out of playing the game by yourself before you ever jump online. Chances are you'll probably unlock several characters in that period of time, and it's a really fun addition because the first game had nothing like that whatsoever. The Garden Ops mode makes a return from the original game, although there is the ability to play from the zombie side this time in what's called Graveyard Ops with the plants on the attack. It's cool to be able to pick a certain class, have one player play a certain role as the healer or the defense guy or the turret layer, while one guy may be going for a completely pure offense. And ultimately, after surviving 5 waves, you're going to fight a really cool boss. After 10 waves, you're going to have your final push and then eventually have to escape and get the heck out of there, just like it was in the original game. Really well done, lots of fun. Even though it may not take too long to complete, you can earn tons of in-game currency through being successful in these, as well as complete tons of the mission board challenges. I'm really happy that this mode returned from the original game. Competitive multiplayer has a variety of modes as well, with many familiar returning game modes from the original Garden Warfare, such as Team Vanquish, which is just the basic team deathmatch, Gnome Bomb, where you plant explosives at certain areas throughout the stage and the opposing team tries to stop you and or defuse the bomb, get it, and then plant their own explosives. And then there's some interesting new variations as well, such as Team Vanquish Confirmed, which hint hint is kind of like Kill Confirmed from Call of Duty, where after you get a kill you also have to collect an orb in order to get credit for it. So they're kind of following suit with what's popular in the shooter genre right now. But ultimately for me, the best game mode overall was always that mode where you're doing the multi-leveled attacks on a certain base. Sometimes it'll be the plants on the defense and sometimes it'll be the zombies. This time around, the stages are really well thought out and very interesting. There's one that's a zombie moon base where you're going through different levels of a space station and fighting off different kinds of defenses and zombies, and just the looks of the stages are so awesome to go through them. It's so well thought out and well designed with artistic thought. I really enjoyed it. On the flip side, there's another stage that goes through different eras of time, including the Stone Age, Egypt, Greece, and just going through those different time periods and playing through a multiplayer match with all these different portals and things going on. It's quite crazy. It's absolutely chaotic, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. You can tell that Popcap put a ton of thought into the multiplayer stages of this game. Now, by no means am I saying that they're all perfect. Yeah, there's a couple stages that really seem like they lend towards sniping or another kind of gameplay, and as I said, for the first week coming out, there's probably going to be patches coming out to nerf the game eventually and or fix some of these weaknesses in the map design, but ultimately the multiplayer is a lot of fun, and I found myself playing it at hours at a time and not feeling tired. I wanted to keep going, which is actually the complete opposite of how I usually feel about games, Star Wars Battlefront, where after just a couple hours I get so frustrated with the game that I don't want to play it anymore. This game's a completely opposite experience. Now, I haven't even touched upon some of the hidden content and stuff that's within the game. There's actually RPG-like fetch quests and missions and things that happen during the course of Garden Warfare 2 that you can use to even earn additional currency. It's all up to you. But ultimately, between the single player, between trying out the survival modes, between doing the online competitive multiplayer, at a minimum, you're probably going to get 15 to 20 hours of gameplay out of Garden Warfare 2 before you've had a chance to play with every class, try out all the story, and basically say, I've seen everything that there is. And that's awesome, because in this day and age, when you get these games that are going to be multiplayer focused, and after only an hour, you've seen everything there is to see at launch, and you say, what the hell did I spend $60 on? This game in comparison makes those games look terrible. And it's silly because I'm kind of going off now, and just you can hear the excitement in my voice of how much I like this game in comparison to most of the other multiplayer that I've played recently. It's actually that good, and I certainly hope that when you're looking at videos of this game or whatever, you don't say, oh man, this looks like a kiddie game, because even though the graphics are like that, and there's certainly not gore or whatever in the game, it's actually insanely enjoyable when it comes to the core gameplay mechanics, and I think this is what we've been missing. A game with a ton of content, an incredibly fun and addictive core gameplay mechanic that will hook you and want you to keep playing. That's what's missing with these $60 multiplayer releases. This is what Garden Warfare 2 has, and I hope that you certainly won't overlook it just because of the visual style or because it's a Plants vs. Zombies mobile franchise. It's certainly worth your time. And so, if you have any apprehensions about checking out Garden Warfare 2 because you're afraid that one of your friends is going to snicker and say, you're playing that kiddie game, huh? You can easily respond in this manner. Yeah, well, how often do you still play Titanfall? Or Evolve? Or Star Wars Battlefront? Because I'm going to be playing this $60 game for a while you traded those in months ago, if not years ago. And honestly, that should shut up anyone who wants to criticize a game just because of its visuals. That is so preposterous, and in my opinion, I think that's one of the most closed-minded opinions you can have about something. Just because it looks different, it's not good. I disagree completely, and I'm glad that I gave Garden Warfare 1 a chance, and Garden Warfare 2 is actually turning out to be one of my favorite games so far in 2016. And so, comparing it to all other factors, recent games that I've played, recent multiplayer games that I've played, I'm going to rate Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, an 8.5 out of 10. That's right. That's really high up on my scale. I actually enjoy the game that much. I don't care that there's a group of people on the internet that are hating on this game for how it looks. I think the game is great, and I'm going to speak my mind. I highly recommend it to anyone looking for a competitive game that has longevity due to a lot of content at launch. Keep in mind, they've already promised even more content that will be coming out for free over the course of this year. I couldn't recommend this game more at this point. In fact, the only thing that I think actually is holding it a little bit down is that it really doesn't have that oomph factor. You know what I mean? When you're playing a game and it feels like you're doing something that's epic. If this had been the original Garden Warfare game, the first installment, I probably would have been more impressed, but I kind of played half of this game 2 years ago, and that's why for me it doesn't necessarily have that wow, game of the year kind of appeal. But don't let that deter you. The game is amazing. Check it out. You're going to have a lot of fun, just like I did. Well, that's it for another Hateful Truth, everyone. I sure hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please check the description of the video where you'll find many links, some going to the raw gameplay of Garden Warfare 2 over on my YouTube gaming channel, DSP Gaming. Also, you'll find our Amazon Associates link, and of course, a link to my Patreon at patreon.com/DarksidePhil. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Hateful Truth.